Hi, I'm Tony Walshman, and I'll be interviewing Carmen Buchanan about being a parent with a child that suffers with ADHD. All right. So our first question is, what's your prior background knowledge with ADHD?
Well, I really didn't have any prior knowledge of kids with ADD. I was a child care provider for 10 years, so I worked with children who had ADD, but being a parent, I didn't have any experience. And when I first had my child, I knew something was different with me working in a preschool setting. He just was a little more active and, just couldn't stay focused at in group times and stuff like that.
All right. So about what time did you realize he was having ADHD?
Well, I kind of picked up thinking that he had signs and symptoms after I started doing research. When he was in the child care setting, he just didn't fit in that cookie cutter group setting. I mean, he was always the most active kid, would never take naps, and teachers always had to come to me and say, "Your son did this, your son did this," and couldn't keep his hands to himself.
All right. Is he on any medication or undergoing any treatments?
Well, they started him on medications when he was 7 years old. His doctor said they didn't like to prescribe medicines until they were at least 7 years old, and they put him through a series of tests. He had to go to the Wiseman Center and get tested for a full 8-hour assessment, and then they prescribed medications to him, Adderall at 10 milligrams.
10 milligrams. At the Wiseman Center, was there any? Do you know the types of assessments he was undergoing?
Well, they had him do they had him sit in front of a computer and do like an hour of computer work to see if he could actually keep his attention focused. And then they had him do a number of follow direction things to see if he got sidetracked. And plenty of, getting sidetracked, and they had to wheel him back in and try to get him more focused.
All right. Do you feel like your life has changed after discovering your child has ADHD?
I actually do. It was like a lifesaver when, they finally prescribed medicines. It was a sense of I could breathe as a parent because I was always on go, 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 go method. We never really had a break. He wasn't that typical kid that he could play by himself. He always wanted, to always be involved and always going to the full max. So it was nice when they gave him medicine and we could actually sit down and play a board game.
Mm-hmm. So were you stressed? Would you say?
Very stressed.
Very stressed.
Yes, because like I said, working in the early childhood setting, I worked with 23-year-olds, and they didn't stress me out as much as my one 5, 6-year-old at home who just went go, go, go and wouldn't even take a nap and then wouldn't even go to bed at a decent time. So.
All right. So are you providing any services or treatments for him at the home environment?
We actually did. We got more the people at the Wiseman Center suggested that we get fidgets. So if we did need him to focus doing his homework, he could have something in his hands to fiddle with to kind of keep him more focused. Rubik's Cubes were a big part of our life, and just the pencils that had stuff on the end so he could chew on them if it was a need for him to be focused.
Okay. Now what about in the school environment? Does he have an IEP or 504 plan?
He did have an IEP all the way through from 7th grade. They would let him be able to get breaks in his 504 plan. They let him leave the classroom if it got too much, and then he could come back and start focusing again. And all the teachers knew he was on ADHD medicine, so they set up his schedule so he would have a gym class the first period, and then he would go into his harder subjects just so they could maintain and give him a little break in between. So it was gym class, a math class, and then a study hall. So.
Okay. And then my last question for you is, would you call yourself an advocate for supporting ADHD?
Yeah, actually, after I found out, our son did have ADHD, I started to join groups of parents with ADHD, and I found it very helpful because I got to listen to other parents with the same struggles. But now, as a parent who's been dealing with this, he's 20 years old and it's been since 7 diagnosed. Now I help those younger parents who are just starting out and learning that their children have ADHD. So I'm kind of, at the next stage in the group, so I can help our new members who are struggling.
Sweet. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you, Tony.
All right.